Fitness Pro Mentor community, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Glenn and I are here. Today, we are talking about becoming an influential personal trainer, and very excited about this because truthfully, becoming an influential personal trainer extends across all businesses and all mediums if you want to grow your audience and take your business, whatever you're doing, to the next level. Very excited to talk about this one. By the way, if you have not heard of us before, Fitness Pro Mentors, we work with gym owners and single trainers, helping you get to your first 10-digit month, 5-digit month, 10 digits would be nice, 5-digit month, and really helping you get over $100,000 a year. And if you're a gym owner, we got some incredible systems to help you scale and grow organically. But Glenn, how are you doing today?
Sleep deprived. Brandon, how are you doing today?
Also sleep deprived. We were talking about it.
Amazing.
We got lots going on. So it's going to be an interesting episode. We both lost a little bit of sleep last night, but that's okay.
Let me tell you why this is awesome. And this is directly going to be related to your success as a trainer. When you work on a lot of these skills so much and they become second nature, the things like educating your clients, being focused when you're working, the things that you have to do day to day, when you get so good at those skills and they become well ingrained in your nervous system, they happen fairly automatically. The lack of sleep doesn't impact you nearly as much in your business as it would have when you were a younger trainer. So I'm putting it, thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Grandpa Green. So I'm putting it out there, guys. One of the reasons why Brandon and I listen, of the 200 plus podcasts we've done together, we've probably been at least sleep deprived a handful of times each, but I don't think, personally, it shows up because we're able to, we've got these skills that allow us to always kind of bring our best selves here. So we're intentional, but the skill building goes a long way, Brandon.
It's funny. I remember this kind of reminds me. There was a really, really big course I was going to test out for that I had to travel for a lot. And every night when the courses were done, many of the students would go out and have a few drinks together because people traveled together from all over the world to come together as one spot. I remember talking to the facilitator of the program and said, listen, I think you should have people test out for this program when they're either sleep deprived or drunk. And he laughed. He said, why? I'm like, well, they should know the information so well that even if they're at their worst, they should still be able to pass the test. And that's kind of what Glenn's saying, in my opinion. If you do the steps and reps to grow your business and your skill set so well, I don't want to think that you can just enter this thing and be autonomous for your entire day, but you should be able to be kind of in your not best condition, whatever that means, don't go to work drunk, but be able to provide a really high quality experience.
100%. I wrote the strength and conditioning certification, the NSCA SSC strength and conditioning certification on like no sleep because I couldn't sleep in the motel I stayed at. I was up for like 36 hours and I wrote that thing. It's good times. It's good times. But
nonetheless, get at least 7 to 8 hours sleep. Do your best. But today we're going to talk about how you can become an influential personal trainer.
Influential personal trainer. Brandon and I often talk about these topics beforehand, and I've been thinking a lot about influence as of recent, and not the kind of influence where we're trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. And I feel like that's always an important thing to say to people and to tell all the listeners of the podcast and anyone who ever sees our clips, which is, where we talk about influence or persuasion, we're not talking about being conniving or underhanded. We're talking about playing open-handed, being open, removing mystification, letting people know exactly where we're at. But being an influential personal trainer is really, I feel like in one way, a great catch-all to building a, like as Brandon said, like $100,000 a year, 10K a month personal training business, because who you have to become on the road to becoming influential in your locale or online, whatever that might be, there's a whole bunch of skills that come along with that actually have a really high carryover to personal training. Just to name a few of them, if you're going to be a very influential person, and you think of whoever comes to your head right now, when I think about influential, I think like Tony Robbins, if someone comes to my mind, any president or prime minister of any country, these people, for the most part, not all the time, but these people are often very articulate. They're strong educators. They know how to network. They know how to connect people. They know how to understand other people and what they want so they can deliver on those needs to those people. I mean, that's how they often grow their influence and their empire, because they're so good at giving to people, and because people get and they receive, and they either like the education or they like the information, or in the case of like someone who's maybe a popular comedy influencer online, they make you laugh, they're humorous. All these different skills really coalesce nicely to creating a really well-tailored, organized, successful personal training business.
I think there's a thought when you brought up this podcast today that I wanted to share, and on all of this, the question I would ask for you is, what is it that you want the influence to do for you?
Yes.
And I think we have this really interesting conundrum in, where we are in the modern technological era, where a lot of people want to be influencers, right? They want to be somebody. And to be somebody, it's very easy nowadays to do a social media page, have a message, be unique, be funny and quirky, follow the algorithm, and then all of a sudden you are seen. In reality, though, are you doing this so you can become popular and seen by people? Are you doing this so you can use it as a vehicle to change lives? I've done a lot to try and help grow my brand to be seen by people. But in reality, I was even thinking about this on the drive into work today, coincidentally. I don't really have any ambitions to be a popular person. It's not my drive. I really don't want to be seen. I would rather be in a cabin in the woods on my own, doing my own thing. But all the things I like to do involves the service industry, assisting people and helping people. And the more eyeballs that are on me, the more people that I can help. And so I would kind of frame this to you is that if you have an opportunity to engage some of the things we're going to be doing today and apply them into your business, sit with yourself first and do a bit of a meta-analysis and ask you, what am I doing this for? Am I doing this because I want to be popular, or am I doing this because I recognize that potentially popularity and being seen will allow my business to grow? So we're not, at least I don't believe, we're going to be talking about you becoming like a YouTube influencer necessarily, because don't care about that necessarily, but I care about you being an influential figure in your community because it will help you help more people.
So if we are going to start talking about influence here, Brandon brings up a really good point to jump off of, which is what kind of sphere are we trying to be influential in? If you're trying to grow a one-to-one personal training business, or you have a brick and mortar facility and you're responsible for getting other trainers busy, you want to be influential and have a strong reputation in your locale, in the 15, 20, 30 minutes surrounding your gym space, healthcare center, wherever that might be, which is going to be vastly different than having a social media account with millions and millions of followers. You can get really popular online, but is that going to translate to one-on-one personal training clients in person? Probably not. And it's quite obvious as to why. These people are probably spread it all over the world. Very few of them are going to be within 15 or 20 minutes of where you are, especially if you're in a bit more of a rural area. So when we're talking about being an influential person, we're thinking about how do we be more influential in the space, in the sphere around where we're going to be hosting our exercise professional services. Now, I've got a whole bunch of different skills, I think, that make an influential person. But Brandon, I want to toss it over to you. What do you think is one influential skill, one skill that a person of influence would have that allow them to really grow their reputation in their locale?
You know, I think if you just kind of bring it down to brass tacks, I would say integrity and professionalism in one category. And the reason why I say this is I think about as a business owner when I'm hiring a plumber or even just someone to help me in the facility, when people show up on time or early and are prepared and don't waste my time, even if they're not the best, honestly, even if they're not the best, but they are outstandingly professional and fair, I will often go with them versus people who are incredible technicians but show up late, miss calls, misquote me, and do all these things. I think that for many trainers, listen, you got to be good at what you do, but at the forefront of this thing, if you're not on time, you're not dressed professionally, dress for the gig that you want to make $100,000 a year, great. How do you dress for that? I think all of those things are the simplest things you can to be an influential figure, because if you walk into your local chamber of commerce or some building where you want to do a presentation, you could have respectfully zero business, but present yourself very well, have a planned script, the thing you're going to do and do for this kind of sales-based presentation that you're going to do, and be organized. Integrity and professionalism. Prepare your mindset and the way you present yourself for the career you want to have.
Before I met the love of my life back when I was dating, I was, Brandon.
Oops.
Oh, sorry, Louisa. The cat's out of the bag. No, before that, I met my darling wife, who I love to death. Was dating, going lots of different dates. I was an active dater, and this girl set me up with her friend, and we were supposed to meet downtown for coffee, and I had to travel an hour to get down there because she lived in the city. And I got there, and she wasn't there, and I waited a few minutes, and 10 minutes go by, and so I text her. I'm like, "Hey, I'm here." She's like, "Oh, just leaving now. I'll be there in 20 minutes." And I just texted her, and I wasn't mean. I'll be honest, I wasn't mean. I was cordial. I was like, "Listen, like, my time is very valuable to me, and this kind of feels a bit disrespectful. Like, no disrespect for you, but I don't think this is going to work. I don't really have a good feeling about this at this point. I wish you all the best, and I hope you have a good one." And she was very cordial back. She said, "I completely understand." But that, for me, that kind of lack of integrity and mismanagement of time right off the bat set me off. Now, if you're that person for all your clients, as Brandon said, your business is not going to grow because you're unreliable is essentially the message that you're sending. Someone who has integrity, is professional, is reliable. And that kind of leads me to another point. When I was dating, maybe I'll use a lot of. We'll try to use a lot of. We'll make this like a dating analogy centric show. When I was dating, and I'd go and I'd sit down with these different women I was meeting. I make it sound like I'm a playboy. I was not. One of the things I would pay attention to is like, how do these people articulate themselves? How do they sound? Is there like a lot of likes and ums and uhs, or did they sound like they were very thoughtful? Did they pronounce their words? Were they very like overly colloquial, or even to the point where it's inappropriate? I couldn't understand what they were saying. Times we used a lot of different slang. Now, I'm not saying that you can't just have a good time and talk with people, and that how you would talk to your clients is how you should talk to like friends or when you're dating. That's not the point I'm trying to make. What I am trying to say is that the way you communicate with people, if you want to be influential, really matters. And that kind of comes down to that professional point that Brandon made again, which is like, sounds weird to say, but like proper grammar, correct sentences. And one of the things we always talk about, whether it's with copy or educating your clients, is how can you say as much as you can with as few words as possible? If you can make a very complex concept when it comes to exercise and education, very relevant and easy to digest in 15 or 20 seconds for a client before an exercise, that power of communication and be able to disseminate that kind of information, dispel myths maybe, goes such a long way to gaining your client's respect and trust. And that's when they're going to start saying things like, you got to go see Brandon at Strata. He really helped me with my knee. And a large framing for that is, Brandon told me some stuff while we were doing exercise that helped me understand my problem. It made me understand what's going on with me. And because they had that understanding, they were able to get more of the process. They trust Brandon more. Because they trust Brandon more, and he gets results and a great experience, they're going to tell more of their friends about it. And that really just kind of stems down to strong communication skills, which in my mind, kind of like how Brandon said, professionalism and integrity are kind of bracketed together. In my mind, education and communication are kind of bracketed together. You cannot be a very strong educator without having a strong command of the language that you're speaking to your clients in. Those two things go hand in hand. So one of the skills that I think is super important if you want to be an influential person is you've got to be a strong communicator and educator. Now, to layer that on top, as we were talking about reputation building and being influential, one of the things that you ought to be able to do is go out and network and meet people. Networking, to me, kind of a bit of a dirty word. Never really liked it. When I was growing up and I first got into the world of business and training, networking meant going to sit in a room full of people I didn't really care to meet and awkwardly tell them about what did I do, get no return on investment, and that kind of felt crappy. And I would imagine Brandon or most people who are new to networking felt relatively the same. I'm sure if you're watching this, if you've been in the field for even a year, you can relate in some way, shape, or form. However, the networking and getting to know people is almost like a second tier on this, because if you're a strong communicator and you're a strong educator, you're professional and you hold yourself well, as Brandon said, then when you go to actually networking events, you go to meet people, you have a very positive impact on the way they look at you and the way they see you, and they come to know and trust you quite well very soon. And because you're strong communicating, you understand how to hold a conversation, build rapport, be interested in them, right? You know, there's a great book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and a lot of it is just the sweetest sound to anyone is their name, make people feel like they're the only person in the room, make people feel special, ask them questions, keep them engaged. All that stuff goes a really, really long way. And if you want to be seen by more people and improve your reputation, what do you got to do? Get in front of more eyeballs. And how do you do that in your locale? You got to go meet some other human beings. Ain't no way around that, folks. If you're a little afraid of it, I get it. You'll work on it. It's going to be fine. You're going to just survive. Trust me. And so in my mind here, when we start looking at like these skills and hierarchies here, I absolutely agree with Brandon. Professionalism and integrity are foundational. In my mind, communicating and education are also integral. And then when you start moving up tiers to like how you become more influential, you got to go out and meet some more people and have some conversations. And I could say some more stuff, but I want to know, Brandon, you have anything you want to add on to that right now, sir?
You're in the people business. I mean, all these industries that you do and the permutations of group exercise, personal training, membership, whatever it is you in your fitness industry, you're in the people business. So I completely agree with Glenn. You have to be good at dealing with people. And if you're not good with dealing with people, you have to figure out how to, because you will not be successful in this industry unless you can handle people and have a good relationship. So completely agree. I know you got a big list. Why don't we rapid fire and like go boom, boom, boom and see what we can do to give all these people a bunch of stuff.
I like it. So there's a really interesting thing in game theory which is what is the only scenario where everyone wins? And there's this quick, I don't want to do it quick, but I'll put this out here real quick because it's a good story. There's a game where there's a pot in the middle, and if you and your partner both say like they choose to share it, then you both get to share it. And if they say, I'm going to keep it, and you say, we're going to share it, and they say, I'm going to keep it, then they get it. And same vice versa. So it's like a blinded thing where like there's always a pot, and you say, am I going to keep it or am I going to share it? And if the person says they're going to keep it, and the other person want to share it, the person says I want to keep it, keeps it. And what they found was going over this over and over again is that if you don't go tit for tat, like giving, and there's reciprocation back and forth, whether I'm going to get this pot and I'm going to sacrifice the next one to you, or we're going to share it or split it, relationships don't last very long. And this is a great way to explain what I'm getting into, which is you can't just ask. You got to be able to give, and then make some requests and then ask. So when we talk about these networking events and we're trying to grow our influence, we're trying to see how can we help other people. Whether it's, can I just chat with you to help you with your health and your wellness? Or you own a chiropractic clinic. I would love to give some value to your people. Would you like me to come and do a free presentation? Would you like to do a service exchange? Something like that. But this is how, when you start networking with people that have access to the people that you want, when they see that you're a giver and not a taker, they're going to want to give you more. So the next kind of stage in this here is if you're trying to grow your influence and your network and your locale, you got to be able to give, and then make some asks and requests. And if you give more than you ask, you're going to get a whole bunch back in return. That's the next time to put out. Brandon, do you have anything you want to add in there, or should I keep going?
I love it. Keep providing value, everybody.
Excellent. The next thing to put out there is you got to be a problem solver. The better you can solve problems, either from your clients' problems or their businesses' problems, the better off you're going to be. A lot of chiropractic clinics that we network with and healthcare centers that we have relationships with, we are an adjunct to them because we help them solve the problems of their clients. Their clients aren't necessarily feeling better just from whatever they're doing. They refer to us so we can help get their bodies stronger, so whatever they're doing ends up being a synergistic effect. They look really good because they made a good referral, and their clients are feeling much better. They have more trust in their business, and we win, they win, the client wins, everyone wins. So you got to be a problem solver in some way, shape, and form. And that's where social media comes in as well. Most social media content that we've had the most success with that acts as great social proof, being, hey, look, we say we're great, other people we say we're great, and here's the proof, social-wise. A lot of our social proof is just educational content that you probably won't get other places. And we do that, and we try to do it in interesting ways so that people get information. And also when they come check us out, they see we're different. They see what we can do to provide them. We have a whole bunch of our clients' testimonials and stories up there as awesome social proof as well. I'm going to take all of this and kind of bake it together. If you're a professional and you have integrity and you're a strong communicator and educator, and you can go out there and you can meet people and you can give both online to those people, you're going to grow your influence and your reputation. And there's just going to be tiers. If you're a personal trainer at your facility and you're the low person on the totem pole and there's 20 other trainers, if you help your other trainers get better, if you do small little things with them, they'll like you, they'll trust you, they'll want to support you, they might help educate you, maybe you get some clients from that. Whatever that might be, you then grow to be maybe the top dog, quote unquote, whatever that means. But you get what I'm saying, at your facility. If you're an independent personal trainer and you want to grow your client base, you give as much free education away as you can to your clients on social media. You go out there and meet people. You give away even more. You're cordial. You try to help people. You try to solve their problems. They like you. Now all of a sudden you're getting more well known by other people that have access to people that you want. And guess what? That just kind of just repeats at different levels more and more and more. I'm trying to right now get published in a couple Canadian magazines. I've got a couple leads I'm working on. Nothing too strong just yet, but I'm looking at publishing an article on why I think you should stop stretching and why you should focus on resistance training. And I've had some interest. But I wouldn't be where I am with this particular parts of this information if at one point I wasn't the low man on the totem pole at Strata, learned all this stuff through exercise and through Brandon's coaching, learned what I did here at FPM, how to be a better copywriter, how to be a better writer, how to be a better communicator. If I didn't do all this stuff through Strata, I wouldn't have had these skills and this knowledge and information on how to market, how to connect with these people, and essentially get my name even into their circle so that I could potentially write an article for them. And if I get published at that level, if I have an article that I can say to other magazines I wrote for this national magazine, that opens the door for me to write for all those other magazines. And I have social proof. You see where this is going. You got to build out some of these different skills over time, get really good at them, and say yes to opportunities and create them for yourselves, and you'll become a more and more and more and and more influential person, to the point where I feel like Brandon and I don't really have to do presentations anymore. I do, because I love it and I want to see other people get happy and healthier, and I want to try to help some of my other trainers here. I'm sitting down with one of our new trainers this week to help him with some of his marketing stuff. But I don't have to do that stuff anymore. I know Brandon doesn't have to do that anymore, because our reputations both are so great in our town and our locale that the leads come in and we have to figure out, how are we going to help these people? Who can we put them with? Because we just don't have the time, which is a happy problem for us to have for our businesses. But we want to help take care of people and give value. And gosh darn, what a happy problem to have. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. That was the short of the long on how to become an influential person. Build these skills, go talk to people, give value, work on all those different things, and you're going to grow your reputation. You'll have to turn away business, which is a happy problem for you to have.
Awesome, everyone. So please embody that, apply it, and give it a go. Be consistent. So we're going to move on to our pick of the week. Do you have an idea of what your pick of the week is,
I do,
Glenn?
but you can go first.
So the only thing I was going to throw out there that I've seen it consistently with some of the students that we're working with is, if you have multiple services or specific niches that you target, be sure you're talking about it a little bit on social media. For example, one of our businesses has a gym membership, a group exercise, and a personal training department, and they're trying to grow their group exercise department. And so of all the content they were producing, none of it was talking about group exercise. So if you have 3 services and you want all 3 to be equal arms of your business, 33.3% of your business promotion should be around that specific service. So whatever it is you're doing, kind of itemize things if you need to, and make sure you're talking about at least the problems that you're solving with each particular niche. Be consistent, because if you're not advertising it, there's zero chance you're going to be able to grow it.
Awesome. My pick of the week is an hour I spend either on Sunday afternoons or Monday mornings, depending on what my schedule allows and dictates. I spend an hour reviewing my previous week. What worked, what didn't work, what did I get done? Am I really proud of? That fills me with joy. What didn't get done? Why didn't it get done? Great. And then I capture all the things I got to get done this week. I got to edit the FPM. I got to post some Instagram stuff. I got to write this article. I got to email these people. I get it all out of my head and on paper. There might be 30 different things. And then what do? I look at all the different things. I prioritize them, one to whatever, and then I create blocks. If I know I got to, for example, post an Instagram reel, edit the FPM podcast and post it up, make a few different client calls. I can do all that kind of stuff in 1 2-hour space. I block that space off. It's now in my calendar and it gets done. If I plan it, it's going to get done. A lot of you who are listening to this podcast, you got great ideas. You know what you want to do. You see a blank space in your calendar, and then you think to yourself, what should I do? And then there's a good chance that some of the stuff that should get done is not getting done. If you plan your week ahead of time, you get your priorities straight and you book it in your schedule, you'll start doing the stuff that you need to get done to grow your business, or to grow your relationship, or to take care of your home, or to be a better husband, a better father, a better professional, whatever you want to call it, whatever roles you take on. If you plan it, it will come and it'll get done. This method has changed my life in the past 6 months, and I'm encouraging everyone to start doing a weekly planning session where you review your week, capture all your thoughts on paper, plan it out, and move onwards. That's my pick of the week.
Love it. Everyone, thanks so much for being here. This is the Fitness Pro Mentors podcast. All we want to do is give you applicable information to help you have value to your business and help it scale and grow in the way that you want. We do these episodes once every 2 weeks, and we have tons of content in the Fitness Pro Mentor Facebook group. We want to help people like you grow and scale your business. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you guys real soon.
Get your Z's, people. Have a great one.